Hello, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and today I'd like to share with you an alternative card that's using the stamp set from the October 2022 Paper Pumpkin Kit. It's a great kit, lots of fun images, and honestly, I put mine together almost exactly as the kit was. But I always like to send thank you notes to my subscribers each month. And so I wanted to use a simple card, and so that's what I'm going to share with you. And it's got a couple great techniques, both using masking paper and another one using heat embossing and doing emboss resist. And so let me pull out the supplies I'm going to use. Again, I'm telling you, they're very simple. I think most of my cards, honestly, are pretty simple, but half a sheet of crumb cake, 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. You're going to need a piece of pool party cardstock. This piece is cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. And you're going to need a couple pieces of basic white, actually 3 pieces of basic white. One that is also 4 by 5 1/4, that's for the inside. You'll want one for the layer on top of the pool party that's cut at 3 3/4 by 5. And don't worry if you lose these measurements. I'll have them all posted on my blog, justalittle.ink.com. You'll also need a scrap. This is much larger than you need, but you need a scrap piece. Then you're going to need a piece of our masking paper, very, very thin paper that's super sticky on one side. It helps with masking. There's all kinds of great techniques. You could use Post-it notes, but masking paper will keep things from lifting anywhere. And so that I cut at 2.5 by 4. So let's get started with what you need. Let's pull out this smallest of the piece. I'm going to set the others aside. I'm going to pull out a scratch piece of paper, just printer paper that's empty. And I want to go ahead and pulling out from our Essentials embossing. This is out of our mini catalog, our July to December mini catalog, and an embossing buddy. And I'm going to put it across. What this will do is take off any finger oil that might be on the paper from me having handled it and cutting and everything. So I'm going to set that aside then, and I will end up using this a couple times. And I'm going to pull out the little stars that were on this kit, and I'm going to pull out some Versamark. And I want to ink up my Versamark, and I'm going to just scatter my parts. Oh, lovely dogs. I'm going to scatter them across strategically, just in the upper portion of my cardstock. So I want them just to show at the top part, not down below. So then I'm going to close my Versamark so I don't get anything in it. And I'll pull out some clear embossing powder. Now I pour my embossing powders into old sandwich tubs, lunch meat tubs. These are part of our Essentials pack. So you get more than just clear. And those are found in our in our annual catalog. So then you'll note I have just scattered, it's hard to see, but I have scattered stars stamped on. So we'll set that aside. I could have, put it into our Essentials. And if I had not had it in a tub, the Essentials would make sense. So then I'm going to pull out my heat tool and be a little loud, but hopefully you'll endure with me. I'm going to heat it just enough until it starts to go super shiny on me. Our heat tool has 2 settings. You want to make sure to go to the highest of the 2 settings. The lower setting is only going to heat enough to dry ink, to where our higher setting is what you want when you are doing heat embossing. And that embossing buddy is what's going to have kept me from having scattered dots of embossing powder on the outside edges of my Two more I'm going to do here. Thanks for enduring with me here between dogs and heat tools. Okay, so then I've got everything ready for me to get busy with embossing. But before I do, I'm going to pull out the essential, or the, I'm going to pull out my stylish shaped dies, and I want the third smallest of the circles. And that I'm going to use, I'm going to pull and push this out of the way a little bit, pull out my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. You could use the full-sized machine. And I'm going to take my piece of masking paper that I cut out, and I want it kind of centered. I want a little space over here. Okay, and if you've seen me do this before, you want to make sure you have about 1/4 of an inch overlap. I'm going to pull it through, get my mask ready. I can set this out of the way, as well as my emboss, or my die cut. So I've got 2 pieces. I'm going to start it out with this piece. So what I'm going to do, pull in again, and set this aside, and I'm going to pull the backing off. So this gives you a chance to kind of see how our masking paper works. So this is the sticky part, and I want to keep this part. This I can throw away. It's very, very sticky. So what I want to do is come in, and I'm going to find where I want my moon to be. So this is what I'm working on. I'm going to use this as my full moon. And it means I'm going to have to be careful. I don't want to push too much because this is so sticky. It will pull up the fibers of our paper. I'm going to use some crushed curry, ink, and I'm going to use a sponge dauber. Sponge daubers come in sets of 5. I'm going to dab it in here, and I'm going to start outside and then come along the edge. And that's just going to keep it from being too strong. So, and you can kind of model as you want. You want to make where's a moon, you could do it white with some other colors. I'm making it more of a sun that's setting. That's how I'm going to let Mr. Santa and those sleigh kind of come across. So we'll see how well we do here. I'm going to set aside, get rid of my ink. So you want to hold on to one corner, and you're going to lift. And hopefully I wasn't too aggressive with my ink, with my masking paper. So kind of hold and gently pull. You should be able to reuse this if you weren't too aggressive. All right, and you can use it then for another time. So set it out of the way. So I've got my sun. I'm going to take the part I cut out, that's what this was, because I need it to cover. And I'm going to, so I got to kind of find that edge. There we go. This part I throw away. This is the part I'm going to keep. And I do find that for this portion, since I've inked, I want to take a little of that sticky off. But again, you're not going to be too, you're not going to push it down too hard. You mostly want it to sit. And the advantage of the masking paper is it's so light. So and then I'm going to use Pool Party ink. And I want to bring it up here, and I'm going to use our blending brushes. Soft, bristled brush. Come across here. Swish around. Definitely want to make sure I have a scrap paper. And I'm going to start here and come onto it. And as I'm coming, my stars should begin to pop. If not, whoops, not only is my stars popping, so is my mask. So a little more pressure there. There we go. Don't want that going anywhere. If you come too much, you get a little bit of an edge like I did right there. But I'm wanting to keep it from making it purple. Or purple, making it green. Red, blue, and yellow make green. So, like so. I'm going to come down at the top. And the idea is to kind of fade as I go toward the bottom. So I'm going to come here, fade down. And you see how my moon or my stars are starting to shine? I'm going to come a little here, into just a little more into here. I want it to fade out, be darker toward the top. And this kind of mimics what the paper did within Paper Pumpkin's kit. So then I can put away that. Don't need it anymore, and I can pull off my mask, just being careful not to pull too hard. So now I've got my finished piece. And I could take there and use, I don't think I even have any with me, but you'll notice that my stars are starting to poke out just ever so slightly. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my Santa and the reindeer, and I want to make sure to have my pierce pad underneath to give it a little more cushion. I'm going to ink up my Santa and reindeer using Tuxedo Black Memento ink. Got a finger in there, so I'm going to be careful. We'll see how well we do here, keeping all the ink off. But I want my reindeer to be coming through into my sun. So I'm going to push, pull off, nice. Especially since I have inky fingers. I'm going to pull out, I keep a bag of Simply Chamois that's moist. Keeps my fingers so I can keep them clean. There we go, out of the way. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to stamp Merry, and then I'm going to stamp Christmas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Merry stamp, and I'm going to use some Merry Merlot. Ink up the Merry, and I want it toward the lower right. Come right here. Nice inking. And then I want to have it say Christmas. So to do that, I'll clean my stamps here just a little bit. I'm going to pull out some shaded spruce. Set this aside, and I said you needed a scrap piece. So here's my scrap, and then I've got my Christmas. Ink him up. Make sure it's nice. I've got it just on a non-Stampin' Up block, it looks like here. Stamp him up, ink it nice. Okay, maybe could get a little more ink. Gives me a couple chances here. How well am I doing? Yes, I like that one much better. So we'll go ahead and this. I'm going to pull out my trusty paper snips. Some quick fussy cutting. This is a straight edge. It's real easy. Don't need anything fancy, but it'll give you kind of that edge like it did in the kit without having. I'm just going to turn it around. Just want to leave a little bit of a white edge. Like so. A little crooked here, though no one else will probably notice it. There we go. So we'll set this out of the way. I will need this one more time. So I'm going to take and put some mini dimensionals on the back. These actually were from the kit. I'm just going to come all the way across, so it makes it nice and pops it up. like so. My fingers off of there. So I'm going to lay the Christmas. I'll get you a little crazy here, but I'm just going to lay it toward the bottom. So I've got Merry Christmas, and then I can start layering everything. Before I do, I want to put my greeting on the inside. And so what I did is I took from the very best occasions. I took, I believe it's this one here. May your days be happy, your heart be light, your Christmas merry, and the new year bright. And I'm just going to use that stamp and ink it up again. Could use any of these colors, but I'm just going to use our tuxedo black ink. And I don't actually need my pad because this is a cling mount stamp. It already has cushion with it. So hopefully I'm straight, mostly. Set that out of the way, and we're good to layer. So I'll show you how fast all this goes together. As I'm wiggling around my notes, to remind you that if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. You can order anytime on my website, justalittle.ink.stampinup.net. And I do hope that you will use the host code if you're ordering 150 or less. Use my Stampin' seal here real quick. Put my greeting down on the inside. And I do have host rewards that I offer for every $50 increment before shipping and tax. You can find all those details at my blog, justalittleinc.com. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would so appreciate it if you would do so. Helps grow my subscribership. And then please like and share. Comment if you have comments. Hopefully I've had some tips that have been helpful for you. If you have no idea what Paper Pumpkin is, it's a subscription service that Stampin' Up! Started a number of years ago, and I would love to talk to you more about that as well. So send me some questions and I can do my best to answer them. So I'm just layering this down flat. We've got enough layer and dimension on the front, and so with the Christmas being popped up, so I'm not going to do more. And so we're just going to pull this onto the front of here. And like that, we have a very simple Christmas card. So you can see where the stars kind of shimmer just a teeny bit. And Santa is going across. These will go together really fast if you want to put together a lot of Christmas cards. Great supplies to use outside of the kit. Don't know if this kit will be available for purchase outside of the subscription period that ended on the 10th of October, but there's chance to get a coordinating kit that's tags for this coming one. It ends on November 10th or sooner if they sell out. So any questions, give me a buzz. Thanks again for joining me. We'll see you again next time.